Virat Kohli all ODIs hundreds list. (107) versus Sri Lanka, 102 versus Bangladesh, 118th versus Australia, 105 versus New Zealand, 100 versus Bangladesh, 107 versus England, 112 versus England, 117 versus West Indies, 133 versus Sri Lanka, 108 versus Sri Lanka, 183 versus Pakistan, 106 versus Sri Lanka, 128 versus Sri Lanka, 102 versus West Indies, 115th versus Zimbabwe, 100 versus Australia, 115th versus Australia, 123 versus New Zealand, 136 versus Bangladesh, 127 versus West Indies, 139 versus Sri Lanka, 107 versus Pakistan, 138 versus South Africa, 117th versus Australia, 106 versus Australia, 154 versus New Zealand, 122 versus England, 111th versus West Indies, 131 versus Sri Lanka, 110 versus Sri Lanka, 121 versus New Zealand, 113th versus New Zealand, 112th versus South Africa, 160 versus South Africa, 129 versus South Africa, 140 versus West Indies, 157 versus West Indies, 107 versus West Indies, 104 versus Australia, 116th versus Australia, 123 versus Australia, 120 versus West Indies, 114th versus West Indies, 113th versus Bangladesh, 113th versus Sri Lanka, 166 versus Sri Lanka, 122 versus Pakistan, 103 versus Bangladesh, 101 versus South Africa, 117th versus New Zealand.